All right, guys. This is week 3 and 4 for career planning and professional skills. Let's get into it. So, we're trying to talk about how to write an effective resume. So, what are resumes? They're the gateway into the workforce. They're typically the first thing that your potential employer looks at before inviting you for an interview. As we all know, first impressions are key in human interactions. A resume is basically you making your first impression to your potential employer, which is why it's extremely important to understand how to make a proper resume. Okay, guys, so a resume is your ticket into getting an invite to come see that employer face to face in an interview. So when an employer looks at your resume, they're looking for certain things, certain qualities, certain aspects, the way it's written, stuff like that. So that's the first thing they see, and we all know first impressions are extremely important in human life, right? So in interaction, if you have a good first impression, you could make mistakes down the road, but as long as you gave that good first impression, that person will always like you and it'll be okay to work with you. If you give off a horrible first impression, doesn't matter how hard you try to fix that first impression, that person's not going to really care, right? So first impressions are extremely important, and a resume is your first impression to a company. So what are some tips on effective resumes, right? So choose the best resume format. So I like chronological, which means it's most recent to least recent. That way, if someone is looking for your job experience or what you're currently doing, they see it first instead of having to look all over for it. So I like chronological. You can look up online what different resume formats there are, but that's what I like. Customize your resume, right? Do add things to it. Add different headliners like subtitles, like major milestones or major accomplishments, and list down all the ones that you'd like, or stuff like that. Just get creative. Avoid complex documents, right? Make sure it's straight, easy to the point. Use a standard font, easy. Use standard margins, that's also easy. Keep subheadings to a minimum, right? So if you are going to use a bunch of subheadings, if you are going to use subheadings, keep it to a minimum. So like for me, the way I do it is I write my, your statement, your vision, your goal, whatever you're looking for. So you write that down, and then I do like highlights, and I highlight like my best performance at different whatever company that I work for. Like just highlight those ones, and then you work in chronological order. Then I talk about my education, and then when I talk about my work experience, it's everything from most recent to least recent. Keep size a minute. Research templates, right? Go online, find some templates you can use, and you can fill them in. Know what to include. Find examples, keep it short, use keywords, use active language, use numbers, proofread, and edit. Okay, so guys, it's simple stuff. Cover letter. So basically, what's a cover letter? Could be called a covering letter, motivational letter, or a letter of motivation. It's a letter of introduction attached to or accompanying another document, such as a resume. So basically, it's a letter that is basically explaining another document. So tips on effective cover letters. So you got to make it easy to read and keep it to a single page. Write unique cover letters for each company. Don't recycle your cover letters and try to send it to a bunch of different companies. Chances are they're going to find they can tell that it's obviously cut and paste, and they're not going to be happy about that. Avoid using "to whom it may concern" or "dear sir, madam." A lot of us start that off with "oh, to whom it may concern" or "dear madam." Instead, try using the hiring person's name. Even if you get the hiring person's name wrong, chances are, people are gonna still appreciate the fact that you use the person's name instead of "dear sir, madam." All right. I'm applying for I am applying for that term that people always say, "Dear sir, madam, I'm applying for blah 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 blah." So it's used over and over. And basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to stand out from the crowd, right? So try saying, "I have a keen interest in the job position," or "After thoroughly researching your job position, I am very comfortable and confident that I'll be a good candidate for this position. Start with confidence, not arrogance, right? You don't. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence is knowing that you are capable of doing something. Arrogance is knowing that you can do it, but you just want to show it off to the world to show that you're better than everybody else. That's arrogance. Confidence is, you see it in fighters all the time. There's arrogant fighters and there's confident fighters. Guys like Khabib Nurmagomedov, Floyd Mayweather, all these guys. These are confident. They're confident in themselves. Floyd likes to talk a lot of crap, but it's not arrogant because he backs it up all the time, right? Arrogance would be someone who just doesn't really accept the fact that they're not the greatest, but they still talk like they are, right? So arrogance is different than confidence. Mention your connection to the company, like show them why you belong, right? Expand on your resume. So a cover letter is good for expanding, talking more about things that happened on your resume. Quantify your accomplishments, right? Instead of saying, "Oh, I increased the sales of the company vastly while I was there." Instead of saying that, say, "I increased the sales of the company by 50% within the first year of working there, and then progressively by 20, 30, 20, 15% the years after." So stuff like that. So you want to quantify it. Demonstrate you're a cultural fit. A lot of companies, majority of companies, have a corporate culture that you have to kind of fall into in order for you to be successful at that company. So you have to kind of show them that, hey, you know what, I fit your corporate culture. Avoid cliches, right? Don't do stuff that's done over and over and over. Show a little personality. So instead of making it like typing it out like a robot typed it, you kind of show like your personality and who you are, what you do. And then directly tell the hiring manager to contact you. So whoever the hiring manager is, the way to end it off is just like kind of just tell them to contact you. Before you submit your cover letters, proofread it first, get a second opinion, and study the job listing submission requirements, right? You make sure you don't, if someone asks you to send an email of your resume and cover letter to careers at blah, 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 don't send it to the hiring manager. Don't send it to, whoever else. Send it to where they're asking you to do it. That way you don't look like an idiot. Okay, so in order for you to be in this day and age, for you to be a professional trying to look for a job or looking for opportunities or looking for people to work with, stuff like that, you need to have an online presence because people just don't like doing face-to-face meetings anymore, especially because of the distance, right? I mean, now COVID, but I'm talking before COVID and after COVID. Distance is a thing, right? So meeting someone, driving over there and meeting them for the first time is kind of a thing of the past. Now everyone has an online presence such as LinkedIn, right? So you create a LinkedIn profile. You have to evaluate consistency to your resume and objectives, right? So your online presence, your online profile, whether it be at Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, it has to be professional to the point where if people look you up on different social media platforms, they can tell that you would be a good fit for this job. And then consider the content you post or share. So, like I said, you want to post and share things that people who are hiring you will, or who want to, who are going to give you business, or who are going to who you're going to impress, or whatever it is. It has to. You can't share content that upsets them or upsets the general public and stuff like that. You got to be very careful with what you do. So, unfortunately, that it is what it is. So the interview, what's the interview? The interview is a key part in landing a job. You must know your resume inside and out. Why are we talking about the interview right now? Why? Because in the interview, the interviewer is going to ask you questions about the job, right? They're going to ask you questions about your resume and your cover letter, mostly, right? They're going to ask you, so you say in your cover letter that you had 15 years of experience doing blah, blah, blah. What is that? So tell me more about that. So you have to actually know your resume, know your cover letter inside and out, understand it, so that when you go to the interview and someone asks you a question, you know how to answer it properly. Once you are selected for an interview, you must know the answers to questions that someone might ask you based off your resume. Very easy. Guys, lastly, you want to be able to stand out for the crowd. I know majority of you people are here in order to get a job. I can help you get a job. As long as you guys come to the live classes, I can show you what works for 99% of people here in Canada. The reason why they have jobs is because they follow these certain things. So some things you gotta look out for is you have to stand out from the crowd. So how do you do that? You add a personal touch, you do your research, you start doing the job already. So basically when you get to the, let's just say you're applying for a sales position, you get there and say, hey, listen, this is my plan on selling this. I need this from you guys, and I can get you this much money. Boom. That's how you stand out from the crowd, right? You start doing the job already and show them that you're not just here to say, I think that I can raise your sales by this. Oh, how are you gonna do that? I'm gonna figure it out once I get the job and start getting paid. No, it doesn't work like that, right? You have to kind of have a plan. You gotta show make use of your other skills and experience, show your creativity, show some grit and resilience, and demonstrate a growth mindset, right? Because in business, it's always about growth. It's never about a decline. It's always about growth, growth, growth. So they want to hire people who have that mindset of growth. That's it, guys. End of slides. You guys have an assignment due today in class, so we will go over that in class in the live.